The country's largest used car retailer has made a bold, almost reckless move that's turning heads on Wall Street, shaking confidence in dealerships, and even forcing automakers to rethink their entire pricing strategies. What exactly did they do? In a dramatic shift, Carmax has unveiled a completely new pricing and valuation system powered by advanced AI, one that promises instant real-time car pricing updates based on live market data, consumer behavior, and regional supply fluctuations. That means the price you see on Carmax's website today might not be the same tomorrow. And here's the kicker: they're using this system to aggressively slash prices across their massive nationwide inventory. This isn't just another sale, it's a full-blown disruption of how used cars are bought and sold in America. Over the past several months, used car prices have been steadily collapsing. After years of inflated values caused by the pandemic and supply chain chaos, the market is finally cooling off. But instead of slowing down, Carmax has decided to push the market even further, dropping prices faster than competitors can keep up. Dealers across the country are panicking. Online platforms like Carvana, Vroom, and AutoNation are suddenly facing a brutal choice: either match Carmax's aggressive pricing or risk losing buyers overnight. And make no mistake, this could ignite a used car price war that will shake the entire industry. Some analysts are even calling it the Carmax correction, a forced market reset that could drive smaller dealers out of business. But behind this bold move lies a harsh reality, and used car sales have been slowing down dramatically. High interest rates, economic uncertainty, and consumer exhaustion have hit the market hard. People simply aren't buying cars like they used to. According to Carmax's latest quarterly report, profits are down, inventory levels are high, and customer traffic has cooled off. The lots are full, but the buyers aren't coming. For months, the company's executives have been warning that something drastic had to be done. Now that something has arrived, and it's shaking the foundations of the business model that made Carmax the nation's go-to name in used cars. And a huge part of the problem is the auto loan crisis that's quietly gripping the country. With interest rates at record highs and banks tightening their lending standards, millions of Americans simply can't afford the monthly payments on even used vehicles. Financing has become a nightmare, especially for first-time buyers or those with lower credit scores. Carmax knows this better than anyone, which is why they've started rolling out a new financing model aimed at flexibility. Think of it like buy now, pay later for cars. Shorter term loans, lower down payments, even experimental subscription style plans that allow customers to swap vehicles mid-term. On top of that, Carmax is partnering with multiple financial institutions to offer hybrid loans that adjust based on market conditions. It's a risky gamble, but if it works, it could completely rewrite how Americans finance cars in the years ahead. At the same time, Carmax is betting big on technology. They're not just changing prices, and they're transforming the entire buying experience. The company has invested heavily in AI-driven appraisal tools, digital trade-in platforms, and virtual showrooms that let customers browse, negotiate, and finalize purchases entirely online. This is the next phase in their long-term plan to compete head-on with Carvana, but with one major advantage: physical presence. Unlike Carvana, Carmax has hundreds of real-world locations where customers can see, test, and pick up their cars. Combine that with a seamless digital experience, and Carmax may have just figured out how to out-Carvana. Analysts are saying this could make buying a car feel as easy as ordering something off Amazon. Quick, transparent, and convenient. And as expected, the ripple effects are spreading fast across the auto industry. Traditional dealerships are already feeling the pressure. Ford, GM, and Stellantis are watching closely, worried that falling used car prices could hurt new car demand, reduce trade-in values, and damage brand equity. After all, when used prices crash, it directly impacts what people can afford to trade in, which means fewer buyers stepping into new car showrooms. Some insiders say this could even accelerate factory slowdowns or lead to more discount programs from automakers desperate to keep sales moving. It's a domino effect, and Carmax just tipped the first one. Consumers, meanwhile, are caught in the middle of this upheaval. For buyers, there's good news and bad news. On one hand, this could be the perfect storm for anyone looking to score a deal: cheaper cars, more selection, and faster purchasing processes. On the other hand, for those trying to sell or trade in their vehicles, it's a nightmare. Trade-in values are dropping rapidly and resale prices are tanking. Some customers are already reporting shock at how much less their cars are worth compared to last year. One online reviewer summed it up perfectly. "Last year, I sold my Honda for $22,000. This year, Carmax offered me $16,000 for the same model." It's insane how fast the market changed. And that brings us to the big question everyone's asking. What's next for Carmax? Is this bold, risky transformation the move that saves the company, or the one that pushes it over the edge? Analysts are divided. Some believe Carmax's tech-first, low-margin strategy could position it as the Amazon of used cars, dominating the market once the dust settles. Others warn that this could backfire badly, slashing profits too deep, flooding the market, and triggering a race to the bottom that no one wins. Because make no mistake, this is more than just a business decision. It's a high-stakes gamble that could reshape the entire used car ecosystem. And if Carmax pulls this off, the entire car buying experience in America may never look the same again. Already, industry experts are warning that Carmax's aggressive shift could force an entire recalibration across the auto landscape. Independent dealers are scrambling to figure out how to compete with the company's new AI-powered pricing. Many small used car lots rely on static pricing. They can't adjust their inventory value multiple times per day like Carmax's algorithm can. That creates a massive disadvantage. Dealers are now finding that the vehicles they bought at auction just weeks ago are worth thousands less today. Some have started halting purchases altogether, afraid that tomorrow's market could undercut them before they've even sold what's on their lots. Meanwhile, competitors like Carvana and Vroom are reportedly in crisis mode behind closed doors. Carvana's entire business model depends on digital convenience and nationwide reach. But if Carmax is now matching or even undercutting their prices while offering in-person pickup and test drives, the advantage shifts dramatically. Carvana built its brand on the idea of a no-hassle, online-only experience, but that's no longer unique. Carmax has the infrastructure, brand trust, and decades of reputation to make that digital vision actually mainstream. If this strategy pays off, Carvana's stock could face serious pressure, and its investors might start demanding similar changes to stay competitive, and the timing couldn't be more dangerous for the industry. The Federal Reserve's fight against inflation has kept interest rates painfully high, while consumer debt is ballooning. Auto loan delinquencies are hitting levels not seen since 2009. People are holding onto their cars longer, delaying purchases, or turning to cheaper options. In this environment, a company like Carmax lowering prices so aggressively doesn't just attract buyers, it forces every other player to adapt or risk being left behind. Even automakers who rely heavily on used car trade-ins to fuel new sales are feeling the heat. The more used values crash, the less equity consumers have to roll into new car loans. And that's a serious threat to brands like Ford and Toyota that depend on consistent trade-in cycles. But here's where things get even more interesting. Carmax isn't just cutting prices to sell cars. They're collecting data. Every transaction, every online click, every appraisal feeds into their growing AI system. The company is quietly building what could become the most advanced vehicle valuation database in the country. They'll know exactly what Americans are willing to pay for specific makes and models, and when. Imagine if Carmax starts predicting market trends before they happen, adjusting its prices days or even weeks ahead of competitors. That kind of predictive power could give them total control over the used car pricing ecosystem. Insiders are calling it the Carmax Brain, an evolving AI engine that learns from millions of transactions across all 50 states. It's not just about selling cars faster. It's about owning the pricing narrative for the entire used vehicle industry. Some analysts are even suggesting that automakers might eventually rely on Carmax's data to set their own certified pre-owned pricing benchmarks. That's how influential this could become. But this kind of transformation doesn't come without risks. Rolling out a real-time AI pricing system at scale is complex and unpredictable. One technical glitch or data error could cause prices to swing wildly, something no dealer wants. Carmax's leadership has already admitted that the system is in its early stages, and there could be temporary inconsistencies as it learns and refines its algorithms. And yet, what's fascinating is how this single company's decision is now reshaping consumer behavior nationwide. Families that once avoided the used market due to inflated prices are now coming back. Car buyers who once dismissed Carmax as too expensive are giving it another look. Even younger buyers, especially Gen Z and millennials, are drawn to the digital-first, no-pressure buying experience. It feels modern, fast, and transparent. Exactly what this new generation of customers wants. For many, walking into a traditional dealership and haggling with a salesperson feels outdated. Carmax is capitalizing on that cultural shift, positioning itself as the future of automotive retail. And make no mistake, automakers are taking notes. Ford, GM, and Toyota have all been studying the digital retail trend for years, but Carmax's full-scale embrace of AI and transparent pricing might push them to accelerate their own transformations. Some experts predict that within the next 2 years, even new car dealers will start rolling out real-time pricing models powered by similar algorithms. Imagine buying a brand new car where the price changes every few hours based on demand, trade-in data, and online activity. That's where this is headed, and Carmax just lit the fuse. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the company's tech overhaul is creating a ripple in Silicon Valley too. Startups that specialize in automotive AI, predictive analytics, and digital retail infrastructure are suddenly in high demand. Carmax's success or failure could determine the next wave of investment in car buying technology. Venture capitalists are watching closely, seeing whether this bold fusion of retail and data science becomes a model for the entire industry. If it works, we could see a wave of mergers and partnerships, tech firms teaming up with automotive giants to redefine how cars are sold globally. But even as CarMax pushes forward, not everyone is celebrating. Many dealership owners see this as the beginning of the end for traditional car sales. They fear that once customers get used to instant, transparent pricing and seamless digital transactions, they'll never go back to old-school negotiations and hidden fees. In their eyes, CarMax isn't just changing the market, it's erasing an entire business culture that's existed for generations. One longtime dealer in Texas said, "If CarMax's model catches on everywhere, we're finished. Nobody will come to the lot anymore. They'll just click, buy, and pick up." And that fear may be justified because CarMax's leadership isn't hiding their ambitions. In recent interviews, CEO Bill Nash stated that the company's ultimate goal is to redefine automotive trust and convenience for the 21st century. That's not just marketing language. It's a declaration of war on the old dealership system. Every part of the traditional car buying experience, the negotiations, the financing office, the test drives, is being reimagined through data, AI, and automation. The message is clear: adapt or be left behind. Still, the big question remains: can CarMax sustain this level of disruption without burning out? The used car market is unpredictable, volatile, and deeply tied to macroeconomic factors beyond any company's control. If the economy takes another hit, or if interest rates climb higher, even CarMax's AI won't be able to stop the slowdown. And yet, if they manage to survive this transformation, they might not just come out stronger, they could emerge as the blueprint for the future of global automotive retail. Because what's happening right now isn't just a CarMax story, it's the story of an entire industry standing at a crossroads between the old world of dealerships and the new world of digital-first, data-driven, consumer-controlled car buying. And that crossroads is widening by the day. Across the country, traditional dealerships are waking up to a new reality. The old rules no longer apply. The days of static pricing, weekend blowout sales, and backroom negotiations are fading fast. Consumers are demanding transparency, speed, and convenience. The very things CarMax has mastered. Dealerships that can't adapt to this new environment are already feeling the squeeze. Some are cutting staff, others are merging, and a few are quietly shutting down altogether. The digital transformation that was once predicted to take a decade is now happening in real time, and CarMax just accelerated it. Even automakers themselves are feeling the aftershocks. When used car prices plummet, it creates a ripple that travels straight back to new car production lines. Trade-in values crash, leasing programs become less profitable, and consumer confidence drops. Ford, GM, and Stellantis have already begun to scale back production forecasts for 2025, citing market normalization, which is a polite way of saying the used market correction is hitting their balance sheets if used car values continue to drop. But according to CEO Bill Nash, the future of car buying isn't about guesswork, it's about data clarity. That's a bold statement, and it shows how confident CarMax is in its long-term digital vision. Customers, however, remain divided. While many love the idea of transparent, dynamic pricing, others worry it might lead to surge pricing. where car values change hourly, just like plane tickets or Uber fares. Some fear it could make it harder for average buyers to know when they're getting the best deal. Social media is already buzzing with debates. One Reddit user posted, "I was about to buy a 2019 Camry at Carmax for $18,500. 2 days later, it dropped to $17,300. Now I'm waiting to see if it'll go even lower." This kind of uncertainty could create a psychological effect, making consumers hesitate, expecting prices to keep falling. But Carmax seems ready for that. Their marketing team has already begun positioning this as a benefit, a promise of true market value every time. They want buyers to trust that whatever price they see is the fairest one possible in that moment. It's a smart psychological play that could redefine trust in used car shopping. If consumers buy into this concept, CarMax might become synonymous with price transparency, something the industry has struggled with for decades. Meanwhile, industry trade groups are sounding alarms. The National Automobile Dealers Association, NADA, warns that CarMax's move could destabilize wholesale auction markets. As their AI recalibrates prices daily, it could push down wholesale values faster than dealers can adjust. That would devalue billions of dollars in inventory nationwide, potentially triggering what some are calling a used car deflation spiral. And while that sounds bad for businesses, it could actually be great news for consumers, at least in the short term. If prices continue to slide, buyers who have been waiting for the right moment to purchase might finally jump back into the market. Used SUVs, trucks, and even electric vehicles could soon be thousands of dollars cheaper. A 2021 Tesla Model 3 that sold for $32,000 last year might now list for under $25,000 on CarMax. A midsize pickup like a Chevy Colorado or Ford Ranger could drop below $20,000 for the first time in years. The used car landscape is changing fast. Faster than anyone predicted, and CarMax is driving that change full speed ahead. But what's truly at stake here isn't just the price of a used vehicle, it's the entire foundation of how cars are valued, bought, and financed in America. And the ripple effects are starting to reach far beyond just dealership lots. Banks, lenders, and even insurance companies are quietly adjusting their models to account for the sudden drop in vehicle values. When used car prices fall this fast, the entire financial side of the auto industry has to reevaluate its risk exposure. Lenders depend on stable resale values to determine loan-to-value ratios, and when those numbers collapse, the risk of borrowers being upside down on their loans skyrockets. That means someone who bought a $30,000 used SUV last year could now owe more than the vehicle is worth, and that's a dangerous position for both the borrower and the lender. Experts are warning that this could create a second wave of the auto loan crisis, one that hits used cars the hardest. If defaults rise, it could tighten credit even further, making it even more difficult for buyers to qualify for financing. That's why CarMax's flexible lending programs are being watched so closely. They're essentially experimenting with a new financial safety net for buyers, hoping that by spreading out payments or using variable rate structures, they can keep sales flowing even as interest rates remain high. But critics say this could be a slippery slope, echoing the kind of risky lending that fueled the 2008 housing bubble. The big question is, are we seeing innovation or desperation? At the same time, CarMax is doubling down on consumer trust to balance out the chaos. They've expanded their 7-day money-back guarantee program and are even testing a 30-day exchange pilot in select markets. The message is clear. CarMax wants to eliminate every reason for hesitation. They're telling customers, buy with confidence. If the market moves, you won't get burned. That's an aggressive strategy, but it's also a clever one. It transforms the uncertainty of falling prices into a marketing weapon. When every other dealer is panicking about depreciation, CarMax is using it to win customer loyalty. But while all this innovation sounds impressive, there's another darker side to this story. Industry insiders are starting to whisper that CarMax's move might not be as voluntary as it seems. Some analysts believe the company was forced into this transformation by financial pressure, with inventory stacking up, quarterly earnings dipping, and investors demanding growth in a shrinking market.